Welcome back to the channel. We're back in our Avatar Commander deck profile to Iroh Tea Master. For one, a red and a white, you get 2/2, where when Iroh enters, create a food token. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have target opponent gain control of target permanent you control. Then, when you do, create a 1/1 white ally creature token and put a +1/+1 counter on that token for each permanent you own that your opponents control. So, we're just going to be a nice old man at the train station heating up our cup of tea while someone yells at us about being a person with a hot cup of tea when the tea was previously cold. Just fun stuff like that. Maybe we give our opponent just like some stuff that'll help them out. Maybe we'll give them some stuff that'll really mess up their game plan. Some stuff that'll make them attack each other, not us. Some stuff that'll maybe just say like, "Oh, you lose the game." All type of fun things like that that opponents just tend not to be expecting. But that's just a general overview of the deck. Let's get into it card by card. Starting us off, we have an Arcane Signet for some mana. Assault Suit, allowing us to equip a creature, giving me a +2/+2 in haste. Can't attack me or planeswalkers I control and can't be sacrificed. Also allows us to keep passing around to our opponents each turn. Um, they only keep it until the end of the turn. It's at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep. You may have that player gain control of it, so it won't stay under your opponent's control for when Iroh's ability happens for the start of your battle phase. But still, giving your opponents something that they have to either swing on each other with and like have some fun and like be a little bit of a group hug player. Could still be fun. Bender's Water Skin, really good mana rock that's coming out in the set, allowing us to cast our instants for a little bit. I don't want to say like cheaper because like our instants are still the same cost, but like cheaper because like you can untap it every turn. Bucknard's Everfold Purse. Um, the equipment, the artifact no one ever gives back to us, but we get to keep passing it around to our opponents. That'll be another permanent our opponents control, giving us that many more +1/+1 counters on our allied creature tokens. And in the meantime, giving everyone some treasure tokens, helping everyone out. Curse Recording, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a time counter on Curse Recording. Then if there's 7 or more time counters, remove those counters and deal 20 damage to yourself. You tap it, you may cast an instant or sorcery spell. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy it. You may choose new targets or copy. We don't have that many instants and sorceries in our deck, so like you may just get this for like the one turn. It's useful for us. And then use Iroh's ability, give it to your opponent. That's why if they're just like, "Oh, I'm gonna play some removal on you," no, okay. Or if you do, you're gonna take 20 damage, and there's some fun stuff like that. Group hug, like I said. Grafted Skullcap, at the beginning of your draw step, draw a card. At the beginning of your turn, discard your hand. So we just get this to our opponents, giving them a little bit of extra draw power. Hopefully that's the only part they read. They don't remember the part where we're making them discard their hand every turn, especially if our opponent's playing blue and we're really disrupting their counterspell plays. Hythlian Rope, another permanent to give control to our opponents, giving that many more +1/+1 counters to our ally creature token, also getting us some lands in the process. Maybe our opponent will give it back to us, probably not. Howling Mine, just really good for that extra draw power that we're looking for this one, helping us out with that group hug aspect of things. Jinxed Idol, at the beginning of, and also something we wouldn't mind handing over to our opponents because it still affects us the same way. Jinx Idol, at the beginning of your upkeep, Jinx Idol deals 2 damage to you. We don't want that to happen to ourselves. You sacrifice a creature, target opponent gains control of Jinx Idol. But we're just going to give this over to the opponent who's the problem. They'll probably be able to give it back to us right away. But we have quite a few creatures on our board, and they can't sacrifice the creatures that we're giving them for the most part. So it helps us out a whole bunch. Actually, way to deal some damage. Like Jinx Ring, whenever any card is put into your graveyard from play, Jinx Ring does 1 damage to you, sacrifice a creature in order to give control of it. Target opponent gains control of Jinx Ring permanently. So, really good ability there, because it's permanently, they can't give it back to you. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Lightning Greaves, in order to make sure Iroh's protected. This way he doesn't have to worry about getting removed. And he can keep on getting those ally tokens. Pendant of Prosperity. Oh, I forgot to put that, what's that gemstone that you keep giving to your opponents anytime they attack you once you draw 3 cards? It was in the Edge of Eternity's one. I think I forgot to put that in here. But when Pendant of Prosperity enters the battlefield under your control, if an opponent and just battlefield under control of an opponent for only 3 mana. Then you pay 2 mana, draw a card. Then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Pendant Prosperity owner draws a card. Does the same thing. So you're basically choosing an opponent. You and them are both getting some draw power and some extra lands if they decide to activate it. They don't have to activate the ability at any point. They just have it sit on their board and give you that additional +1/+1 counter. Soul Ring for some additional mana. Swiftfoot Boots for same reason as Lightning Greaves. Talisman Conviction for some extra mana. And Wedding Ring. Enters battlefield. If it was cast, create a token that's a copy of it under an opponent's control. If the opponent controls an artifact named Wedding Ring, draws a card during your turn. You draw a card as well. Whenever an opponent who controls an artifact named Wedding Ring gains life, you gain that much life as well. When you're really just trying to help out that opponent, because they're getting all these same effects as us. Basically, we're both getting draw power, we're both getting life gain, all that fun stuff. Especially if we have the food token that we gave them. Alexios, Deimos, and Cosmos. Trample keeps getting stronger, keeps getting passed around to our opponents. He won't be under your opponent's control during your turn, so you won't be getting those +1/+1 counters on the ally you get with Iroh. But still, having Alexios with all his +1/+1 counters on him, pretty useful. Bizarre Trader. Target player gains control, target artifact, creature, or land you control. Something else we could put under our opponent's control. This way we could get that many more +1/+1 counters on our ally. Bronze Bombshell. Whenever a player other than Bronze Bombshell's owner controls it, that player sacrifices it. If that player does, Bronze Bombshell deals 7 damage to them. I mean, sometimes someone might just be sitting there being a problem. So let's give them a Bronze Bombshell. Potentially take them out of the game. Cinder Giant. During your upkeep, Cinder Giant deals 2 damage to each creature you control. We don't want that to happen to us, especially since Iroh's only a 2/2, and most of our stuff will probably be 2/2s as well, thanks to Iroh's ability. So let's get this over to one of our opponents and really disrupt the token player. Discerning Financier. At the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent controls more lands than you, create a treasure token. Maybe we give our opponent our lands. Well, actually, target permanent you control for Iroh's ability. So you give your opponent a land, giving yourself a treasure token. There's a page 3, target, choose another player. That player gains control of target treasure you control and gets to draw a card. Depends what you need at the time. Slump. And Slump is dealt damage. You and target opponent each draw a card. Maybe give it to your opponent and they'll make a deal with you. Probably not. If not, it's still just a 0/4 with Defender. It's a pretty good stat line. Golden Knight, Castigator. Flying Haste 4/9 for 4 mana. I mean, you always have a downside. Source you control would deal combat. If a source would deal damage to you, deals double that damage instead. If a source would deal damage to this card, deals double the damage to this card instead. Basically doubling up the damage to our opponent's phases that they're going to be taking. Giving us control to our opponent. They have a 4/9. We helped them out. No. Gridminder. You can't play creature spells. Hopefully we'll have Iroh out. He doesn't get removed. Because if we cast this and Iroh gets removed, we're a little bit done. I'm just gonna say it. We're probably lost the game at that point. But yeah, making so our opponents who really relies on their creature spells can no longer play them. Really stop someone's commander. Humble Defector. Another way to give something to our opponent. Giving that many more +1/+1 counters on Iroh. Along with some draw power is always nice. Karn the Betrayer. Well, that's not Karn, that's Cairn. Attacks or blocks each combat fable. You lose control of Cairn, draw 2 cards, which not that hard to do, thanks to Iroh's ability. If damage would be dealt to Cairn, prevent that damage, and an opponent of your choice gains control of it, which maybe they'll just keep passing it back and forth with us. Who knows? Lauren the Third Path. Just a little source removal, a little bit of draw power. Maybe you can deal with the opponent you're giving us control of this too. And you can both draw the cards. Master of Ceremonies. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent chooses money, friends, or secrets. For money, you get a treasure token. For friends, you get 1/1 allies. And for secrets, you get a draw card. All stuff that really just benefits off of making friends with our opponents. Rust Elemental. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice an artifact other than Rust Elemental. If you can't, tap Rust Elemental, lose 4 life. I mean, it's a 4/4 with flying. It had to have some downside with this retro frame. Slicer, Hired Muscle. Another creature we keep passing around control to our opponents. We get it on with the living metal side, deal some combat damage. Keep passing around, keep having our opponents swing on each other. Steel Golem, you can't play creature spells. If we shut down the first creature player, now we're shutting down the second creature player with between that and Grid Monitor. Steelskin, Moogle Merchant. Another way to pass around our cards that we don't want on our board. Treasure Nabber, in order to gain control of our opponents. Soul Rings, Arcane Signets, other types of Signets. Because why should they be the only one with extra mana? We should be getting control of their stuff just like they're getting control of our stuff. And, even if it's artifact land, that also gets us that mana. Wait, right? Yeah, for mana. Yes, man, personal Securitron. Another thing to give control to our opponents. Keep getting that draw power off of it as well. And then eventually get a bunch of not allies, soldier tokens. And today in Tantalus Thief. Like I said, now we can control stuff from our opponent. And also, when we give stuff over to our opponent, get some treasure tokens, allow us to make some bigger plays in the future. No planeswalkers in this one, so let's scroll over here to the second half of the deck. For our enchantments, we have aggressive mining. Can't play lands, which really sinks. But that's why we're giving control of it to our opponent. Sacrifice the land, draw 2 cards, activate this ability only once each turn, so your opponent can't just deck themselves out. They don't get to go out that easily. Curse of Opulence. Not a permanent that we could potentially give control to. Yeah, I think this is technically under an opponent's control because they're the enchanted player. So now we get extra +1/+1 counters, convincing our opponents to swing into one person, so they get some extra mana. No one ever was upset about that. Darksteel Mutation, helping everyone out, getting rid of the problem player's commander. Sent into Avernus, at the beginning of your upkeep, put 2 descent counters on this card. Everyone's dealt X damage and creates X treasure tokens where X is number of counters. You control it to your opponent. You start off with the count a little bit sooner. Form of the Dragon, at the beginning of your upkeep, Form of the Dragon deals 5 damage to target creature or player. That's our opponents. At the end of each turn, your life total becomes 5. So maybe we get controls to our opponent, we have some way to take it back, and then we just deal 5 damage to them. Ghostly Prison, making it hard to attack us with how many ways we have to really mess with our opponents. We want to be protected. 9 lives. Another way to make sure our opponents can lose the game. Source control will deal damage to you, prevent that damage. Put incarceration counter on this card. 9 or more on it. Exile it, and when this leaves the battlefield, you lose the game. So maybe you can just have like some removal for it, and you're just winning the game that way. Smothering Tide, maybe give your opponents like some treasure tokens, like just be nice. Or you just have like your treasure to do whatever you want. Transcendence, you don't lose a game for having 0 less life. Even when you have 20 or more life, you lose the game instead. Whenever you lose life, you gain 2 life for each 1 life you lost. Or you just give this to your opponent when they still have the 40 life total. Especially if you got that main mana with Smothering Tide. Brand, gain control of all permanents you own. Getting back that form of the dragon, maybe like her Slicer, Descent into Avernus, stuff like that. Chaos War for some extra mana. Aside for some removal. Everybody Lives for some protection. Flare of Fortitude for some protection. Path to Exile for some removal. Purge protection. Give us an extra turn. Everyone wants an extra turn. And you get some birds in the process. And you get Teferi's protection in the process as well. Rootborn Defenses in order to get another food token along with some protection. Swords Plastius for some removal. Tybalt's Trickery. You got a red counterspell. No one ever sees it coming. Untimely Malfunction for a redirect and a removal. Sorry about that. Nothing really special in terms of lands here. For our sorceries, the Blast Massage for a board wipe. Cut a deal. Make some friends with the whole table. Everyone gets to draw a card, but you get to draw a bunch of cards. Disrupted Quorum, means our opponents have to attack each other. We're not giving them all this stuff for free. We want to make sure they actually do stuff with it. Harmless Offering, then we give some stuff over to our opponent. This way we get that many more +1/+1 counters on our stuff. Jessica's Will, and also like this way we're not just like entirely out of the game if Iroh's off the board. Jessica's Will for some additional mana, plus some additional cards. Promise Loyalty for a board wipe. Scrambleverse. For each non-land permanent, choose a player at random. Then each player gains control of each permanent for which he or she was chosen. Untap those permanents. So basically passing everything around the table. Hopefully keep your Iroh is the only thing, because otherwise you might be a little screwed. Seize the Spotlight, getting some treasures, getting some control of your opponent's stuff, maybe some draw power. And Tempted Bunnies. Everyone's going to get some rabbits, and you're going to get some rabbits. That's 100% what happens. It's not you just only getting that one draw power and that one rabbit. Everyone wants the rabbits, everyone wants the draw power. But overall, that's the deck there. Overall, I think this one's gonna be like one of those ones where people are just like, what do you like? How do you win? Um, yeah, you're gonna just like all of a sudden hand them a 9 lives, a transcendence, stuff like that, and just win the game. But that's the deck there. If you guys liked the video, make sure you like the video. If you want to see more like this or have any other commanders in mind, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next one. Have a great day.